Right. Hello and welcome to the Clock End Taproom. We are a brand new Arsenal podcast. We're going to have the three of us sitting here chatting all things Arsenal. Whether that's match reactions, transfer talk, a bit of tactical stuff here and there, probably. But plenty of opinions all along the way. Let's get straight into it. First off, I am Dave. I'll be hosting at least tonight. Might get sacked after tonight because the host is not always the best, but we'll see how that goes. But joining me first off, we have Fize. How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. How are you, lads? All right?
Yeah, good.
Good, mate.
Good to be doing this. Been chatting about it for a couple of weeks now, haven't we? And good to get going.
There is no better time, gentlemen. No better time to get involved.
Yeah, we'll get into the real good stuff in a minute. I've got plenty of that to do. But second up, we have Nathan. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah. So you recovered from the parade yet?
I have got very sore cheeks. I've just not stopped smiling since that Tuesday night when it was confirmed. The parade was crazy. Just like we'll probably touch on it in a bit, but yeah, it's like nothing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was. Carter wasn't there, but yeah, it looked pretty wild from the outside. I mean, as long as you could breathe, anyway, because that looked like it might have been a bit tough. All the flares. But,
well, like my sort of, I've got a lot of claustrophobia, as it turns out. So it was a bit of a leap into the. I was leaning into the idiocy side rather than a good idea. But yeah, got there. Watched it on Upper Street. Got advised that was like the place to go from where I was coming from. There was a guy on Twitter, I can't remember his name, I need to give him a shout out, but basically he ran the route the night before and he put a thing on his Twitter account and so many Arsenal fans messaged him and he gave such good advice for everybody.
Bless him.
If you've got a disability, you probably better go in here. If you want a bit more room, if you want to be in the thick of it, go here. It was fantastic. So yeah, I took his advice and it was spot on. So I was down like cut through some flats, like a group of flats, and there was a ginnel on like facing sort of like Upper Street. So I was like, brilliant, all good, no problem. And then people just started going forward as they were filtering onto Upper Street. So I was like, oh, even better, I'm going to be actually on the route. It's fantastic. And then the route started getting busier and busier, and you had people trying to cut behind you going both ways. So when it was single traffic, it was fine. You were getting jostled a little bit, but no one was. There was no aggro. There was nothing like that. I've seen a few things since, and I'll be honest, I saw nothing all day. It was all good vibes, for want of a better word.
Nice.
But yeah, basically, it started getting busier, and I had my back to a barrier because there was a private party behind me. There was a shop at the top of another ginnel, and they'd obviously cordoned it off with one of the metal barriers because they were having a private function. Absolutely fine, no problem. But there was a guy stood next to me and he actually sort of like fainted into my arms and took me through the barrier with him. So I've sort of grabbed him. We've both gone through. My sister, bless her, thought I'd collapse, so she was in a mess. So I grabbed her and we went through. Anyway, long story short, the guy was fine. There was a first aider at this private party, he was fantastic. Come over with the water and got him some sugary snacks and got him going again. But the upshot was we ended up in this private party, so we had a great view. The people there were just really, really nice. Couldn't do enough for us. It was mad. It turned into a bit of a mad day.
That's mad.
But the upshot was there was loads more room as well. So I started because I was getting a bit panicky. But once we got through this barrier, there was loads of room because obviously they cordoned it off for the private function, and it just turned into a really fantastic day.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It looked amazing on the telly, didn't it? I watched it on the telly at home. I could do it. I did Tuesday, the spontaneous one that I drove down.
Mega.
That was, yeah, it was. But it made me realise that it's been 22 years because everyone was considerably younger than I was. And so I phoned my Arsenal mate who we went to the last time we were Invincibles. We were there, and I said, "Are you ready?" He goes, "I'm ready." So I picked him up. So I live in Surrey. I went through Brixton. It took me about an hour and a half to get there. I got there about 11:30, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I was shocked about how many people turned up on a random night. And they were partying. They had speakers out that were up to like my waist height. So human beings had to carry these speakers at short notice, and the pubs were kicking out at the right time. People just storming the off license. It was insane, but it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And do you know what? I must give a shout out to the young lads who do what they call again? Is it Ashburton Army? The ultra looking lads who turn up with the drums and everything, and they had the flares, and they just seem ready to go. Anytime anything happens, they are ready to go, and they were there, and they were just conducting the whole thing. So there was no club, no anything, just fans going mad. And then
it's organic, wasn't it? I think.
You
don't get much of that anymore, do you? Really, it's just an organic sort of celebration like that.
That was beautiful. That was amazing. I think I missed Ian Wright by a little bit because Ian Wright was there for a little while, and he ended up in the Tollington. And then we just couldn't get near it. And then it was suddenly, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. You're like, I'm going home. I'm going home. Everyone's got stamina for this, and I haven't got stamina for this. But I was here. But it was amazing. Just the night, because I watched the Bournemouth game. I watched it. I just had a feeling that we couldn't do it. It had to be given to us. I just had a feeling it was going to be Bournemouth because they're good.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game all the way through. So I was downstairs with my missus and my daughter, and they were watching whatever, and I had it on my phone on the Sky Sports, on the app, just flicking through, just checking, refreshing every bloody 30 seconds. Anyway, whatever was until I finished, so I grabbed the remote, flicked it on, and as I flicked it on, Haaland scored, and I was like, I've just ruined it for every Arsenal fan. I've just ruined it for every Arsenal fan in the country. Like, I thought they were going to come back and everything, and luckily, obviously, Bournemouth hung on. But just at that moment when he scored, I was like, I'm the one. It's my fault. I've ruined it for everybody.
I did that about 6 times in the season.
So I was thinking at the time, like, would this be better to win it? We win it on Sunday, on the Sunday, sorry. Or was it? It didn't matter, did it? It really didn't matter.
No, it didn't. No. And I think the scenes on Tuesday night showed that as well. Really showcased that it didn't matter. It was just getting over the line, getting that first one, and it was like, right, it's done. To quote Big Deck, it's done.
Literally everyone I spoke to. Sorry, mate. I just said everyone I spoke to that night said exactly what you guys have just said.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought I wanted to win it. I thought that I just couldn't deal. We just don't want any more pain. Just give it to us.
Yeah. I think the videos of them at the training ground and stuff were like worth as much as them winning on the pitch, wasn't it? Really, it was some cool stuff there. Exactly. I remember the year before going up for that game, when we could have won it potentially, needed City to slip up. And I think they were like 2-0 up in about 15 minutes. And that whole game just ended up being a bit of a nothing game for us, wasn't it? I can't even remember who we played now. But it was that last game of the season, like this season before. So it's it's nice to just get out of the way, get it done. Sunday would have been a bit of a, I don't know if my heart could have taken it if we really needed something.
Given what had happened up to that Bournemouth game as well, the games that we'd had previously were, let's face it, we were falling over the line, weren't we? We weren't taking it by the handle and saying this is ours. We were, the Burnley game on the Monday night was terrible. We just switched off in the second half. It was like, lads, this still matters. You still need to, get this over the line, kind of thing. And don't even get me started on the West Ham game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There was a lot of those, wasn't there? In the end,
that's it. Towards the end, there was just a lot of drama. It was like, right, lads, just nice and easy. Just put 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, shut it down. Everyone's happy. And it was like, no, we're going to do this the really hard way. We're going to make it really horrible to watch. It was just like, oh God, please.
God, I'm getting PTSD again just thinking about it. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
I mean, even goal difference was still a thing then, wasn't it?
Yeah, people were trying to work it out, and it was just like, oh, just get it done.
Once they go back to level, it just felt like we had no chance of winning for me. Like we've blown it. Like they had the momentum. We were just whatever we were doing. Every game we played, we looked terrible, didn't we? For about 2 months before, it felt like it was just it was like, oh, please, not like this. Like coming second's one thing, but doing it that way would have been just God knows where we'd been at if that had happened. Because I don't know where anyone goes from there.
I would have sacked it, mate. I would have sacked it, lads. I would have just done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think
doing it
I think
anymore.
I'd actually said that at one of the football groups. I think I said, like, if we don't win this, I don't think I can come back from this one. I think I might have to go watch American football or rugby league, or I might just have to step away from football and just leave it alone.
Well, luckily we don't have to deal with that, do we?
Absolutely not. No,
I
luckily
think
we don't have to find out what the answer to that is.
distant memory.
Right. Well,
never in doubt.
let's get into some intros and stuff. Let's do a bit about all of us three. So, I mean, Fize, let's start with you. I mean, how did you come to be an Arsenal fan? When did you first start supporting Arsenal, and how did it happen?
So, born and bred in northwest London. Started off in West London. So being from an Asian background, my family loved cricket. My family's family loved cricket. My dad tried to put us into cricket when we were younger, and I just think cricket is shit. So I was like, listen, Dad, there's got to be something else. Honestly, so many different sports. And then he goes, well, I do like QPR, Fize. And I was like, okay, well, all right, well, let's go and look at QPR. And that was our club down the road. So we went QPR, and they were shit. So it was like a process of elimination. And then it was, it was Ian Wright. And before Ian Wright, it was David Rocastle. And it was just, that was my club. I wanted, all my mates supported Liverpool. It was the late 80s. All my friends supported Liverpool. And I was close because I liked John Barnes. It was just a thing, right? It was a kind of a, I think maybe I'm over kind of intellectualizing it now, but I think there was kind of representation for like a minority, and you see John Barnes, and then you see, even though it's not exactly the same thing, there was still a thing, right? And I watched the Arsenal play, and I forget who it was against now, but I just saw David Rocastle play, and I thought it was John Barnes. I just couldn't, like, his red shirt, black guy, and I was just thinking, and then someone said to me, "No, that's Arsenal, mate." And then my dad said to me, "There's only one rule, Fize, and that's just make it a ground we can get to. I'm not driving up north." I said, "All right, cool." Arsenal, there you go, and it's been like that ever since, mate. And for good or bad. And do you know what? Yeah, I'm a bit lucky. It could have been QPR, and my dad suffers all the time. Yeah, but then that's it. That's me and Arsenal, gents. That's and it's been a love story ever since. It's a marriage, not a love story, because love stories go well. Marriages,
definitely some up and downs in that time.
Absolutely, mate.
I love that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where you, Nath? How did you come to support Arsenal?
So I was one of them kids growing up where I kind of liked whoever was winning. I was that guy at primary school. I was like, oh, I like. So when I was growing up, it was sort of like United were just amazing, and for whatever reason, I never connected with United. My whole football background comes from my mum. She used to go and watch United when, like, Bobby Charlton, Georgie Best, Dennis Law. She went and watched those kind of games. And my dad is from Nottingham, so he's a Nottingham Forest fan. They both tried to, influence me in both of those directions. And then, yeah, I started to sort of like understand football a little bit more, watch it a little bit more. I had a flirt with Liverpool myself. I liked Mikel Owen. Mikel Owen was my favourite England player at the time. He was just coming through, 18. He was like an absolute steam engine, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Brilliant when he first came through. But my favourite player at the time was Ian Wright. I just loved Ian Wright. Just that grin, that cheekiness, that, absolute passion for the game. And that sort of started me with watching Arsenal. And obviously, I got into it sort of when Wenger turned up. And then obviously, the Invincibles started coming on board as well. So for me, I kind of jumped in at the right time. And then, yeah, when sort of like Henry turned up and people like that was me.
Wow.
completely in. But my mum said to me, when I was sort of flirting with Liverpool, I had a little thing for Leeds as well. Do you remember when David O'Leary was at Leeds and
of course
they had Viduka, Harry Kewell, they were really good. I used to love watching Leeds. I thought they had a really good team.
Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah. My mum turned around to me. She said, "Look, while you live in my house, I will never, ever, ever buy you a Leeds, Liverpool, or Manchester City shirt." She said, it's not going to happen. So, being the rebellious little 10, 11-year-old I was at the time, decided that Arsenal was the next worst one for Manchester United. And that's how I locked in. It was mainly the Ian Wright connection, but when my mum said that, I was like, right, I want an Arsenal shirt then. Bit of a two fingers up to mum, because it weren't going to be Man United. I knew that much.
Yeah.
It feels like Ian Wright's the big one, because he's the first player that I loved. Ian Wright. He was my first, my first player that he was the one. He's the player I remember from my early Arsenal days. I was saying this before. I think my first football memories are really the Cup Winners' Cup in '94. Obviously, I've watched a bit of football before that, but that's the first football I really remember. I can remember them games, pretty well. Say, they're a bit hazy now, mixing some of them up. But was it 32 years ago? Pretty much on the dot now. It gets a bit hazy in that time. But yeah, Ian Wright was definitely for me that player that really drew me in. Is
I mean, how do people not like Ian Wright? I don't know anybody that doesn't like him. He's brilliant, and he just lives for it. And there's no. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of hate from him for anybody. He'll always try and defend anyone, not even Arsenal. Just he's just a top guy. Just a top guy.
He'll turn up everywhere, as well. He'll do everything the club wants him to do and all that stuff. It's
absolutely, yeah, lives and breathes it.
I was going to say there's somebody that I know that works in a hospital. Guys in St Thomas's, the kids hospital in London, and if somebody asks Ian Wright to go and visit someone, he agrees almost every single time, and he does turn up there, and he requests that nobody else is there, just let him go and speak to somebody. So if you had a parent of a kid that was unwell, Ian Wright would go and talk to them as long as nobody else was there. So it's just it's the measure of the man, really, isn't it?
I one of my most prized possessions on my wedding day, my best man was giving a speech, obviously tearing me to absolute pieces. Of course, that had to be done. But he said, "Oh, I've got a gift for you," and I was like, Ed was coming off. I was like, "What is he going to do here?" I was panicking. Basically, it turned out that my granddad had been to San Carlo in Manchester, which is it's quite a well-known restaurant. A lot of the footballers go there. And my granddad was there. I think he was on a business meeting or something like that. But basically, Ian Wright was there, and he got Ian Wright to sign one of the San Carlo cardboard menu things. And he put best wishes on your wedding day and signed it, Ian Wright. And I was like, oh my God.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. But again, he's out having a meal and he still took the time to do that for someone. I just thought, yeah, what a guy.
I think you just see even now, even the players now all love him, don't they? After we won the title, they're all going up to him to celebrate with him as well, aren't they? They all love him as well.
He's brilliant, and it's good to have.
Absolutely, it's legacy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what about your first games? What were they? First Arsenal game, Nath? What was that one?
First Arsenal game that I went to. So I was in the away end.
Oh, wow.
I was in the away end. So long story, but I'll shorten it down. So basically, I think I'd just turned about 16 or 17 at the time, and a friend of mine was a big Bolton Wanderers fan, but he was a couple of years younger than me. We went to school together, but I had obviously left school and I'd started working, but we still used to knock around. And basically, he came to me one day and said, "Look, I want to go and watch. I want to get a season ticket at Bolton Wanderers, but my mum won't let me because I'm too young." So I thought, well, I've just started work and I can still get a kids ticket, so it's dirt cheap for me. So I said, I'll come with you. We'll go on. This was when Bolton were in the Premier League. Bolton Wanderers was the closest stadium to where I lived. It's about 10 or 15 minutes in a car away from where I used to live at my mum and dad's. So I was like, I get to go and watch Premier League football every week. That's brilliant. I'm all in, kind of thing. And I get to watch the Arsenal at least once a year. So yeah, the first sort of time. The first one that I really remember, I'd obviously have seen them at the Reebok, but the first one that I remember was my first trip to the Emirates. So I missed out on Highbury, never got to go to Highbury. But this mate who I'd got the season ticket with, we said we were going to stick to the home games to start with and then just see where it progressed. After that, I think we had 4 seasons. We went all over the country. But he came to me one day and he was like, my dad said he'll drive us. Do you want to go and watch Arsenal? I was like, are you stupid. Of course, I want to go and watch Arsenal, like, you know. So yeah, his dad, bless him, said, "Yeah, get you sort of ticket out, and I'll drive us down there." So we drove down. My mate fell asleep in the back. I was like wired, completely wired on adrenaline, like, because I missed out Highbury. This was the first Arsenal game, and I just remember getting into the ground in the concourse. And obviously you walk out, don't you? In every stadium, it's not just at the Emirates, but in every stadium you walk out and the pitch kind of like opens up in front of you, doesn't it? As you go to find your seat. And I just remember holding my breath just before I walked out. And yeah, I'll never get that feeling again. Never, ever, ever. But yeah, I think we won 2-1. I think. We had a crap record against Bolton, didn't we? It was when Allardyce was in charge, and he just used to put like big Kev Davis up front, and we just couldn't handle it. So yeah, I remember the games at the Reebok. We never got a result. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we won that one 2-1. But yeah, just the day, just being at the Emirates, it could have been any score. But yeah, that was my first one that I remember. It was just completely blew me away.
Amazing.
Where you first game? Do you remember it?
First game, yeah. Like you said a bit earlier, it's a few. I was just trying to distinguish between games, because they've just become mashed together and had to make one big game. Like, I remember I couldn't really get a ticket for Highbury because it was small and the lads had bought all the tickets and it wasn't easy. First game I ever went to was Crystal Palace QPR, but that aside. First game I remember buying my own ticket, going down there, experiencing all of it, buying a drink, was Deportivo La Coruña against Arsenal at Highbury. It was one of our Champions League game. It was, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the finish where Kanu sits the goalkeeper down without doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm right behind that. Right behind that. So yeah, he just ran up to it and he looked at him and he sat down and he just waltzed around him. And yeah, that was but Deportivo had some team that day, man.
Yeah, they had a really good team.
They were great around that time, weren't they?
Yeah. I don't even think they're in the La Liga anymore. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's the first game that I remember, and I reckon I must have been about 17 then, or something. But anyway, that was the first game I remember, and that's really sort of early Wenger, because I just didn't go beforehand. It just never came into my mind. It was more. Funnily enough, I used to play football, but then I never watched. I never used to go to the ground to go and watch the football games. I'd play 11-a-side, but once I realised I wasn't any good at this playing the game, I decided I should go and watch it then. So yeah. But yeah, I managed to put, so that because you weren't a season ticket holder, it wasn't that easy to get tickets unless you knew anyone. Therefore, European nights, you might grab one. So that was always
definitely.
So yeah, that's the one I remember.
Definitely tough. Yeah, like my first game was Highbury, but it was because I knew someone who had a season ticket. But my first game weirdly was a North London derby. It was 1995. I think it was 1-0 at finish. Klinsmann and Ian Wright scored. Yeah, my main memory of it is just standing on the seat just to be able to see anything. You know, I was definitely far too young to be at a North London derby as well. I think, like, obviously at the time I didn't really know what that meant or what that was. But yeah, like looking back, it's pretty mad that you had to been like 6 years old at a North London derby with ended up going with my mate and his dad. And it was a crazy experience. I remember Justin Edinburgh bringing down. I think it must have been Ian Wright for the penalty, and that was sort of my main memory of that game is winning a penalty. I don't know why that stood out, but obviously something about that did. But way too long ago now, depressingly long time ago now. But
tell me about
31 years for first game, but yeah, still got the program for it, like tucked away upstairs. So I'll always have that program, I think. So some of the other programs I've had over the years, I just got rid of because I don't know, they don't mean a lot, do they? Really, in the end, I think there was a time when I used to collect programs, and then like now when I've got them, it's just a box full of them, like these big heavy box of programs that like Arsenal versus Sunderland or something in a random Saturday afternoon. Like that one don't really need to get kept. But that Arsenal Tottenham one will be with me forever, I think.
Yeah, definitely, that's class.
That is class. I do have, gentlemen, the box that you got first ever game at the Emirates. It was Dennis Bergkamp's testimonial.
Yeah, I remember it because it was my birthday that day as well. I didn't go, but it was my birthday. So I remember that game.
So I used to work for a guy in town, and he had season tickets. He bought, I think it was. Anyway, he had silver member tickets, which was quite important then. So you'd be on the middle bit, right? Expensive seats. And we were begging him for weeks. Come on, mate, please. It's, because we'd heard that Johan Cruyff was going to come and all this kind of stuff, right? It was Dutch legends, Arsenal legends. Please, 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 no chance. Even the day before, he was saying, no chance. And then the morning, he was like, get yourselves down there. I'll meet you up there. And he gave us it. We went in. As soon as we went in, they gave us a box. I've still got it. It's got the T-shirt in it. It's got the program, and it's got Dennis Bergkamp's life in the program.
Oh wow!
So I thought, if I'm gonna keep one, that's the one I'm gonna keep.
Yeah, definitely.
But what a day! What a day! Booing Edgar Davids for no reason. Then he played 4 games for Tottenham, but boo.
Love
that. Absolutely love that.
I feel it doesn't happen quite as much anymore, does it? Just a booing, somebody like randomly, is associated with Tottenham. It still happens a little bit, but not quite as much. It did,
not at all. We're probably so nervous these days that we just don't remember their association. Just like it's 1-0, it's the 87th minute. Jesus Christ, let's just get through this and then it's done. But yeah, there should be more booing. I agree, much more booing.
Bring booing back. It's,
Absolutely.
we'll start a new campaign.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll get on to a little bit what we've got planned coming up in the next few weeks, I suppose. I think we're going to look throughout the squad, and do this full squad review, from front to back. Players we might want to see kept, players we might want to see come in, all that sort of stuff. But we'll look at the World Cup as well. Obviously focus on the Arsenal players, because there is about 1 billion games, isn't there? When I was looking through, making a bit of a calendar for this, there's so many games each week. But we'll focus on the Arsenal players and in them, unless there's something big that happens, and obviously any transfers that pop up. But for today's episode, we're just going to look back across the season. Do some of the good stuff. Let's reminisce about things that happened about 2 weeks ago. So I mean, let's start with the title. We might as well, haven't we? What better place to start, really? Have you got one highlight from the season? Is there anything that sort of stands out for the season other than, obviously that Tuesday night? I think that is going to be it, isn't it? But is there anything else that really stands out from this season? Because it's hard, because a lot of this season was a bit of a slog, wasn't it? It wasn't. There's not been loads and loads of highlights. Is there anything you can think back that sort of stands out to you?
Please. Do you know what?
For me,
go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like you said, it was a slog. It was, it felt like the first half of the season was probably where the highlight for real were, and then after sort of like February, March, it started to drop off a little bit, didn't it? I think the one for me, because all season, especially towards the end of the season, like all my friends were saying to me, like, "Well, it's done now, isn't it? It's done now, isn't it?" I was like, "Listen, I've been an Arsenal fan for a long time. You don't know how badly we are going to fuck this up. Right? This is going to be monumental, so get ready for it, strap in, because I can see it coming a mile off." They're all like, no. But the one time that I allowed myself to believe, just for half a day, I think I give myself, was when we won at St James's.
Oh, it's a big game. Gabriel,
we'd struggled there, and Newcastle were always up for it against us, because we had a bit of a ding dong with them a couple of seasons ago, didn't we? When they were sort of like fighting to get back in the Champions League, they were playing quite well, and they, made a big fuss about all our time wasting, and they did the same thing at the Emirates. So there was a bit of like needle in that. I always thought in that game, and I just never fancied it at St James's. Just never ever fancied it, and then we won, and I was like, okay, maybe. Because these were the types of games that we wouldn't win. Yeah. We'd come away with a point if we were lucky. So to come away with 3 in that game, I thought, right, okay, we've got a chance. Yeah. We have got a chance. But don't get me wrong, the morning after, I was like, right, we need to knock that on the head. I'm not letting myself get carried away with this one. But yeah, that for me, I think maybe not necessarily a highlight, but I thought that was a big moment in the season. That for me was the one.
Yeah. You got any fires? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah. Do you know what, lads? It was before the season started. It was looking at the fixtures and going, what kind of start is that? Yeah. Well, we had City, United, Newcastle, Liverpool, and I was just thinking, if we get through the first, and obviously by about November, I'd completely forgotten about this theory that I'd based my whole analysis on. but that start, and I just thought to myself, if we're in and around it after that start, it gets easier. Little did I know, yeah. But that, and we done really well. And when we got through that, I thought, oh, like you said, Nathan, you know, the Newcastle game was the end of that sort of run, wasn't it? We beat United at Trafford. We beat we drew with City last minute. We lost to Liverpool, of course, but we won all the games in between, and we were roundabout top at the time, or if not right near it. And I thought to myself, do you know what? This we're doing all right here.
I'd completely forgotten about the start of the season. You know, you make a good point there, because I'd completely forgot about that run of fixtures.
Yeah, that was a brutal start.
That was amazingly bad, wasn't it? Like, I'm looking at it going, do you know what? I've backed us to win it this year, and this is what you do to me. But I was really impressed. But then I think naturally, like everybody else, I just thought that when the fixtures got easier, we'd open up a bit more on teams, and it just feels like we just kept that tightness in games going all the way through. And but for me, it was the start. Just looking at it, going 6 games, we get through 6 game blocks. It will not be harder than this. You know, United at the traps, new season, new players, first game, Old Trafford. Like, do you know what I mean? It was, and I hate going to Old Trafford. It's always been like a barometer, isn't it? Like, how will you do at Old Trafford and Anfield dictates a season really for us. And we were unlucky at Anfield, but I just anyway, the start was good, and culminating in the Newcastle performance was the one that I thought, because we were 1-0 down at Newcastle, crowd behind them, the whole thing, late into the game, Marino with a header, and then to go on and win that, because usually, make that game in March and Arteta closes up shop at 1-1. Do you know what I mean? But we went on and we won it, and it was fun because that was when set piece ole was happening, right?
That was like peak.
That's when it started. Yeah, it was the birth of it. So it was the start, mate. It was the start of the season. But did I think we were going to win the league? Not even on the Tuesday night. Not even on the Tuesday night.
I think the only time I ever really started to believe was that Max Dowman goal against was it Everton? It must
Everton.
Everton, just it felt, because it had been so like negative, I think, around Arsenal. Even though we were like top, it still didn't feel like particularly fun or positive. And then that happened. It just felt like, maybe that'd be the thing that maybe took a bit of the pressure off. But obviously that didn't play out that way, because we were terrible for the 6 weeks after, weren't we? And let City right back in. But I think that's the moment for me. If I think of one moment this year, that is probably. The one where that is, because it was just such a crazy thing, wasn't it, that he scored? I think every Arsenal fan wants him to do well, obviously, don't they? But when it is someone who's come through the academy and the young player, there's something different about those players, isn't there? There's always like the Wilsheres of the world and stuff that they really feel like your player, don't they? So him scoring that, I think, was the standout moment for me.
That's a great show, to be fair. That was a good show.
I mean, did you ever actually believe Nathan until it happened, or were you saying that Tuesday evening? No,
I was very much. I've been here too many times before. I am not saying it until it's done. I'm not a superstitious kind of person, but like I was saying, before we started, I switched the Bournemouth game on when Haaland scored, and I thought I'd ruined it for everybody. I was like, why have you done that? Why could you not just wait 5 more minutes of added time and just not put it on? You didn't need to do that, So I turned into Mr. Glasses half empty, wasn't saying it, and nearly got proved right. But who cares? We got it done.
Exactly. I think that Arteta style just makes it hard, doesn't it? Because he's always going to let teams stay in it, isn't he, in games? And I think that makes it just. It'd be nice if one of them games just be 3-0 up at half time and just all right, we can just calm down for a bit now. Every game just felt like a fight till the 90th minute, didn't it? It just made even more intense every game. It was.
How nice was Fulham?
Oh yeah.
How nice was
they were on the
Fulham?
beach already, weren't they? It was lovely.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And I think they had the flu or something, and it was like 3-0 at half time. It's like, great, this is wonderful, isn't it? This is great.
That must have been the only game that was more than a 1-goal lead, wasn't it? I think it feels
I don't know
as many that were. we were clear, which is mad, really, isn't it? In a title-winning season, that you can't sort of kill teams off, especially as I don't know if we finished as top scorers, but we were up there, weren't we? I don't know if I think we might have been top scorers in the end. I don't know, but we were close.
We were very close.
It doesn't feel like that, does it? When we were watching it, it didn't feel that sort of thing. Well, get on to. I think this is a tough one. Who was your player of the season, Fize? Was there one that stands out? Because it's a tough one. Because there are a few that deserve it, I think, isn't there?
There is, mate. There is. I mean, look, David Raya has been spectacular all year. Spectacular. I don't care if he shanks a clearance once in a while. He's worth 10 points to us a year. Just those sort of last minute saves and stuff has been spectacular. And I don't want to name a goalkeeper, so he has to be really good. I don't want to see a defensive midfielder win a Ballon d'Or or a centre back win one. You know what I mean? It's anti-football.
Doesn't feel right, does it?
No, exactly right. So, but David Raya has been amazing because there's been wobbles that we have in games, and he pulls stuff out. I mean, I just don't know where we would be, but I'm not going to give it to a goalkeeper. Forget that. I'm not going to give it to a goalkeeper. No chance. We won a title, lads. I'm not giving it to a goalkeeper. I'm going to say Declan Rice. I just think it's 8 out of 10 every game. £100 million bargain. Do you know what? He's been 8 out of 10 every game minimum. Every game he's played for us, and I've never seen anyone do that.
Has been that, hasn't he?
I've never in my life for Arsenal seen a player, unless you're talking about the real echelons of people who've got statues and stuff. I've never seen a player that consistent. Honestly, haven't. It's every game. It doesn't matter who we play. If he's on the pitch, he dominates the pitch. And £100 million bargain for me. Declan Rice, hands down. Even the whole, and it was the whole. It's not done. I know they kind of Sky Sports the whole thing, but it's not done.
It feels like there's been a bit of a turn on him of late, doesn't there? Where people saying he's performative and all that. I just think he's just who he is. I think it's just the bloke he is. I don't know. I think he's just always been that way. I think he always will be. Yeah.
It's Arsenal, isn't it?
Even Arsenal fans themselves, I think, have turned on him a bit. I've seen something. Yeah, I've seen a bit of stuff on Twitter, but I guess there's always going to be something, isn't there? There's always be something to.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I loved it because no one would have remembered if we lost the league.
Yeah.
Well, either that or it'd been his Gerrard moment, wouldn't it? It'd have been like, was it this doesn't slip or whatever Gerrard's thing was? It'd have been Rice doing that. It's not over or whatever.
That's classic. The classic. Yeah. So Declan Rice for me. That's Declan Rice all there.
Same for you, Nath, or you got someone else?
Yeah. So for me, it's between three for me. Raya, I think everything you said there, Fize, absolutely bob on. He has kept us in it. We've had moments this season where the mistakes have crept in. So like last season where we finished second again, I felt like we were a better team and we'd cut out the mistakes, the silliness.
Yeah.
Switching off, we'd really cut that out, and it still wasn't enough to take us over the line. And I was gutted last season. But this season the mistakes have crept back in again. Just silliness, silly passes that were on. Maybe a bit of loss of concentration, and Raya's been the one who has saved us. He's been that last line of defence. Absolutely, phenomenal performance. The other one who needs a big shout is Gabriel.
Yeah,
I've not seen a defender like him who just absolutely. It's not even a love for defending; it's almost like an obsession. Like he's obsessed with it. He's an absolute animal. He loves nothing more than putting a big, massive tackle in on someone. And it's rare that you get a defender like that these days. You look at Saliba and, he's a bit of a Rolls Royce. And, yeah, all right, he loves defending and he's a good defender. But I just think Gabriel, he wakes up in the morning and he wants to go and kill someone, in a not in a red card kind of way, but he wants to go and win that ball.
Yeah.
So, and again, some of his performances, obviously in the box this season, he's been fantastic as well. But again, I just come back to Declan Rice, and he amazes me every game. He'll come up with something, in them crap games. He'll make a run, and no one will notice it because it's not an assist, it's not a goal, it doesn't lead to a shot on target or whatever. But he's just made a burst where we've had 10 minutes where we've just been sat knocking the ball around, doing absolutely nothing with it, and he'll just make a burst forward, or he'll intercept a pass and he'll take it up the other end of the pitch, and it's just that bit of energy, and it's something that's not quantified in football, and I think that's why Declan Rice gets a little bit of sort of crap. They're like, well, his numbers aren't great, are they? I hate stats. They prove nothing. Apparently, Bruno Fernandes is the best player in the Premier League because he broke the assist record. Behave yourself.
Well said. Yeah.
You take him out of that Manchester United team, right? Who's going to actually provide the chances? No one, because it all runs through him. So of course he's going to break the assist record. He's a big fish in a small pond with no other creators around him. So his stats should be off the chart. Not to go all Roy Keane and say it's his job, but genuinely there's no one else to do that job in United. Whereas with Dec, the things that he does aren't quantified. So people are like, well, he's not got any assists and he's not got any goals. That's not what he brings. He brings moments. He can shift a game just by running 20, 30 yards up the field. And that, for me, is why he's our player of the season.
Well said.
He's obviously not captain, but he feels like the captain, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like he feels like the,
that's how big he is.
Natural captain.
Yeah. He's the guy that you look for on the pitch, isn't he? When it's not going well, when you need your captain to step up, he's the guy that you go looking for. Take nothing away from Odegaard, Odegaard's always the first guy who goes and starts to press with us. He's always the first guy. He's in front of Jokeres or Havertz. He's the first guy who charges forward and puts the press on and says to everyone, right, come on, this is what we're doing now. But in those bad moments, everyone looks for Declan Rice, and it's because he produces in those moments.
Yeah.
Nice. There have been some rumours, haven't there, that he's going to be named captain and some of this, but I can't see him taking off Odegaard, really. You don't really need to, do you? It just causes you problems to do that, doesn't it, I think
these days, a lot of clubs have groups, don't they? Captain groups. And I think, obviously, Dec, Gabriel, Odegaard, probably Saka as well, are probably our group of captains. Yeah. And Odegaard's just the one who's got the armband on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right, well, you mentioned before, for me, it's Rice for me. Yeah, I think same as what you said. Like, I think Saliba deserves a shout out as well because
special shout.
I think he's just incredible. I think I just honestly don't know if there's a better defender out there than Saliba. Really, different styles, but for me, he's just incredible. I love watching him. He's my type of player. I love watching him as a defender. He's my type of defender. Declan Rice. I think it's just you can't give it to anyone else, can you? This year, I think. It annoys me when I hear people talk about him like he's, like people like to talk about him like he's overrated, like 100, 105 mil, whatever it was too much. I'll pay that again if we had to keep him. He is, since he's come in, he has just been, everything we've needed, hasn't he? For years, he's been what we needed.
I never thought I'd ever say that 105 million was a bargain ever.
Yeah,
never ever would I have said that.
Because
spot on.
I was talking to someone yesterday just on Twitter about talking about what's the name from Forest, the midfielder,
Anderson.
Elliot Anderson, and someone said like feels a lot of money, and people comparing it to Rice, and I said like I think he's great. I think he's a really good player, but I'm just not sure he is, that Declan Rice level of player. And people are so offended by that. It seems like so many people like ever mentioned it because I dare to say that maybe he isn't, Declan Rice level, but Rice to me is just a level above pretty much any midfielder in the league right now. He is. He's just so. He can do anything in there as well.
He can.
You can play in all the positions.
He can. He's everyone's played a bit of football at whatever level and whatever age group and all that, right? And we all do a bit of five-a-side here and there, whatever. There's always one that there's a fella, and you're like, oh god, I really want to be on his team. I really don't want to chase him because everyone's on their ass and he's running about like he hasn't broken any sweat and he just gobbles up the ground around him. Declan Rice almost feels like he's playing on a pitch which is too small for him. Like he could go another 50 yards if he needed to in any direction and just hunt people down. And I love it about him. I absolutely love it because there is... And his ability to switch between them. I mean, just indulge me, lads. He's scored important goals, important assists, dead ball, last minute challenges, and you know, what more do you want from a central midfield player? He does literally. He's like a throwback. He's like the Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira days when they did absolutely everything. And as good as Anderson is, and I think there is this kind of thing now where they're trying to find another one. Like, you know, is he the new Vieira? Was like the new thing forever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think everyone's trying to find a new Declan Rice because that's the benchmark now. But I just don't think there is, and I genuinely don't think there is in world football, because a one-man midfield is just play who you want with him. That's kind of the point, right? Zubimendi, I'm sure we'll discuss it at some point. Lewis Skelly, play who you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Declan Rice is the midfield.
Yeah.
We'll get on to the Champions League final in a minute, but you know, he was incredible in that, wasn't he? Like, that was the example of it. Like, he was just, you know, we obviously weren't exactly playing good football in that, but he was just, I felt like he was everywhere he needed to be, Rice. He was always involved in the defending, and he was like, you know, as you're saying, though, that stuff doesn't show up on the stat sheet, does it? It's he was incredible. Well, you mentioned Bruno before. Well, the player of the year nominations come out today. Let's start with the young player of the year, shall we? Because that'll be a bit quicker, and then we'll go on to the main award. Max Dowman, our only representative there. Bit of a weird one, I guess. He's played 100. I've written it down here. I think it's 153 minutes of football, Premier League football for us this year. Obviously, I love him. Obviously, I'm delighted for him. He's the youngest player to ever be nominated. But is it justified? It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
No, it's not, is it? I mean, the sample size is tiny, right?
God, sorry.
Who nominates them? Is it the players? Is
the players one? Yeah, this is the players vote.
It's the one that matters.
Yeah.
So it's the players that pick like who they want, and then the shortlist is created from who the players have voted for. Is that right?
I don't know if this is just the top 6 in votes, you know, and it's already decided. I'm not sure how the voting works, because I think they vote like quite a while ago, don't they? I think they voted before the end of the season. But I
wasn't sure if like the 6 came out and then they voted, or whether they voted and that's where the shortlist came from. But
as far as I know, they vote and then the 6 come. But you know, don't have that as gospel.
So as much as we're, I mean, I agree with both of you. I think it's a big reach for him to be shortlisted, given the short amount of time that he's played for. And I love him, and I think he's amazing. And I think he's been a game changer for us. I can't remember the game it was that he came on, but he changed the game completely. I think it might have been the Everton game. It was the Everton game, where we were
struggling in that game, weren't we? Yeah.
We were struggling. There was no creativity. There was no spark. He came on and he completely changed it straight away. But if this is being voted for by the players, that to me says more than any other award.
That's a good point.
The players are looking at this guy thinking, this guy's really good right now. You know, and you could say the same about the Liverpool lad as well. The players have seen these 2 youngsters and gone, shit, these are coming, you know, and they're here now. So I think it's a stretch. I don't think he should be in there myself, because he's not played enough. But if the players are picking it, that's such a big shout.
Yeah, I do wonder sometimes with the players if it's just a bit of, you know, they don't watch loads and loads of football necessarily, and you know, that moment just stood out, and there's been lots of chat about it, wasn't there? So maybe it's just, he'll do. He's under like whatever it is, about 27, isn't it? The young player of the year these days. It does seem mad some of the players that get nominated for year on year, but you know, I thought, was it 23? I think, isn't it really? But it's a weird award, the young player of the year anyway, isn't it? Every year there's always someone.
There's always a mad one in there.
Yeah, someone who feels like they've been around for, you know, a decade almost, and they're still on the young player of the year.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on to the main award, because you know, I think that's a bit more relevant to Arsenal, because I'm not sure Dowman's going to win that one. But I mean, do we have a winner here? Gabriel, Raya, and Rice. Yeah, the 3 players that got a mention from us most in our own player of the year. Are any of them going to win it, or are we going to see Bruno win this one for some reason? You know, I looked earlier and he is the favourite. Bruno.
Is he?
Yeah. I don't get it. I didn't get it when
the world's gone mad.
Either, to be honest,
I can't stand him. Mad. I genuinely can't stand him at all. I think he's so overrated. I really do. Even with breaking the assist record, he whinges. He downs tools easily. When Amorim was there, people seem to forget Bruno Fernandes you know, when Amorim was there, he was just crying the whole time. He wasn't trying to help the situation at all. I just think people. It feels like this season people have looked at the second half of the season and completely forgot about the first half of the season. I mean, I'll admit I've been guilty of it myself. You know, where I've gone, oh God, yeah, that happened. You know, it feels like it's been that long ago. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's got to be one of the Arsenal players. But I genuinely do think Bruno will get it. I really do.
I think what's hurting the Arsenal players, like you said, Fize, like giving it to a defensive player feels a bit weird. And Rice isn't necessarily a defender, but you know, he's defensive. But you know, he's a bit more. You know, he's not an attacking player anyway, is he? But it's got to be Rice, hasn't it? Like, I don't know how this could be anyone else.
I can't see how you can. If this was last season and you had the same 6 players up there, if we didn't give it to a City player. Or a Liverpool player, they would have said, "How can you do that? They're champions. Why isn't one of their players winning it?" And for some reason, this year it's just normal, like, you know, but they're champions. But you know, so we must have had some players who played well, right? And then won something. But you know, we've got, as you know, as Nathan was saying, Man United were they were just a comedy club until like Carrick came in. And Cherky and Haaland, you know, apparently these trophies they've just won aren't worth shit. If I'm listening to like everybody else for the last few years, apparently they're not worth anything. So you know, what is it? You know, what is it you've got to do here? Then again, you know, I contradict myself. Then again, they are defensive players. But then Rodri won a Ballon d'Or, so you know, give me a break.
Yeah.
You know, give me a break. But yeah, I mean, look, lads, you know, we're probably going to have the same conversation about 20 times in the future, I'm sure. But our attacking, you know, had one of our attackers had a decent season, they'd be in there and they'd probably win it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Saka's the one who, like, obviously didn't have the season, but he's the one who, like, would have won this probably in a normal season.
Nailed on. Absolutely nailed on. If Saka had, you know, 10 goals, and which is a normal season for Saka, 10 goals, 10 assists, for example, nailed on, he would have had that.
Yeah.
As you
wouldn't
say,
really need a particularly special season, would he? It's just, I don't know.
No, but you know, I just think that, you know, once they've kind of gone with the writers, I just can't see it going anywhere but Bruno, which is just a weird. But okay, you broke a record. All right, great. I mean, what did Henry get for that? You know, he was also the top scorer as well as the top assist maker.
Yeah. I mean that's what sort of gets forgotten in that assist record, doesn't it? That Henry also did that season.
Oh, lads, I mean, yeah, we're going to have to do a whole podcast just about Thierry Henry, I suppose, because you know, the amount of Arsenal podcasts out there, and no one's done one that I can remember in recent time just talking about Thierry Henry, because I think it's important just to remember that, like, you know, all these players you talk about, like kids talk about, there's Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and things. These players will, you know, and like, you know, Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo and all that, like that. We had one. We literally had one.
Yeah.
I could actually do a couple of hours on that Pavel Nedved Ballon d'Or, because that was a disgrace. Oh, that's awful. How he never won it.
It's FIFA, isn't it? It's FIFA and all that. It's all that. It's all that kind of stuff, isn't it? I think Nedved even said he should have been Henry, but you know, but just to go back to it, like, you know, as you say, Nathan, you know, statistics, you can make anyone measure up to anyone. Then it just kind of it defies the aesthetic of it. It defies what your eyes tell you and what you know as something that excites you. You know, if Declan Rice had 22 corners and we scored 22 goals, he'd be the leading assist taker in a season, and he wouldn't be up here. They'd be saying, "Oh, it's free kicks."
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't quote me on this, but I'm sure I saw something on Twitter that said, of the assists that Fernandes got, 8 of them were from open play. Now, bear in mind,
it wasn't many. I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, it wasn't many.
But bear in mind, Arsenal have been slaughtered all season for scoring from set pieces, and yet we've given the player of the Premier League Player of the Year and the Writers Player of the Year to a guy who's only got 8 assists from open play out of however many.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that. Imagine
just
that.
Be consistent. Just consistency.
Exactly right. Here's a fun stat about set pieces. So we scored the most. The second, and apparently we won it. We're Set Piece FC. The second team who scored the most set pieces this year was Tottenham, and they avoided relegation by 1.5 points or something, or whatever it was. So much for set piece Olay, right? And depending on set pieces, right? So, and I think they're like 2 behind us. So they've done really well out of set pieces. It's just the rest of football they shit. But yeah, but there you go. But yeah, let's just move Bruno Fernandes and Haaland and Cherky's face. Just do something about that, because that can't be dealing with looking at Cherky as well. Do you remember doing all the kick ups at the Carling? Was it Carling Cup? Was it called a Carabao Cup?
Carabao,
yeah.
Carabao, yeah. Doing kick ups and stuff and thinking he was all that. Well, his face was fantastic at Bournemouth.
I think with Fernandes, if United had won the league and then he had this season, like fine, he's probably like the most important player on the Whittle team. But to give it to a season like that for the team that's finished third, just I don't know. Like, it's not even as good as, was it probably about 3-4 years ago? Odegaard, I think, finished second in the voting, and he had like an absolutely incredible season. That season was like head and shoulders above this Bruno season, and he was never I think was it Haaland that year. Whoever it was anyway, but I know Odegaard wasn't ever really going to win. But that season was just head and shoulders above this Bruno season. There was no chance of him winning because we didn't win the league, and for Bruno to get this year just makes no sense to me. But
I'm with you.
We'll move on. Well, we'll move on to more frustrating stuff. Let's have a quick look back at the Champions League final then, before we wrap up for today. I mean, let's start with the good stuff. The first 20 minutes were pretty good, weren't they? It was, up to that point, we looked pretty good, didn't we?
We were unbeaten, lads. We didn't lose. We didn't lose a game in the Champions League, and didn't win it.
Yeah, I think to be fair, the performance for me was spot on. I thought we were fantastic from all the way through, really. Defended like warriors. Saka, for me, defensively, was absolutely phenomenal. Kept Kai Havertz Shirley quiet between himself and Mosquera. There was just that one little bit of magic from Kai Havertz Shirley where he twisted Mosquera inside out, and I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty; it was definitely a penalty. But he bought it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he twisted him inside out, made him go for the tackle. It was a genius bit of play. Absolutely.
It's so frustrating as well because he'd been so good all game, hadn't he? He was like he was the one, the spot when you look in the lineup, he's right back a bit iffy, but he was so good, and then that happened. I was gutted for him, really.
Yeah, I was gutted for him because, like you said, he'd been brilliant, but against a player of that quality, just an absolute genius player. But yeah, people saying like, Arsenal were playing anti-football. It was really defensive. They didn't deserve to win it. Like, by all means, lads, if you want your teams to go toe-to-toe with PSG, you crack on and you come back and tell me and you get on, because you will get hammered 4-5, 6-0 with a team like that. Because one thing I noticed about PSG was they never give the ball away for 80 minutes. It was just precision. The first touch, precision. I've never seen anything like it. It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I was super proud of the lads. I really, really was. I thought maybe in the second half there was a period where we could have gone for it a little bit more, where PSG just seemed to be trying to take a bit of a breather because they've been attacking all game. I thought we could have pressed a little bit more, been a little bit more attacking and not as conservative. But on the whole, obviously got to lose, but really proud of the performance.
Yeah, it was. I think the thing that I found frustrating, once they got back to 1-0, we started sort of going forward a little bit more, didn't we? We started having played a bit more attacking, and I think if we had played out the whole game, I think I'd have felt a lot better about it than how I did after, because when you just want to give it a good bit of a go, don't you? Like, I think there's a balance, isn't there? Sometimes I think maybe we gave them a little bit too much respect. Where
I hate an early goal. I absolutely hate an early goal. Like, scoring early is the worst thing for me. And when we scored, don't get me wrong, I celebrated. Then I looked at the clock, I was like, "Oh, we have gone way too early." I mean, don't get me wrong, you take it, don't you? You take the goal wherever it comes from. But it was early. way early.
When
Also, we'll get into
Chelsea
this
won.
as a- Sorry. There you go. Sorry.
Sorry, Dave. When Chelsea won, did they not score early? Did Havertz score early as well? I don't know. I don't remember, but something like that, wasn't it?
I
Was
honestly
it
don't
early in the
remember.
game?
I
No?
don't remember. I remember him
Yeah,
scoring.
well,
I just don't remember what time it
Yeah, I
was.
don't remember when it was.
Yeah. Well, that aside, I mean, it was. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous, and it was crazy. So I was like, I don't care. I just really wanted to be champions of England. I don't see PSG fans in England anywhere. I don't see Real Madrid fans. I don't have this kind of, oh God, you don't see them on Twitter, to be honest, because whatever, right? But as soon as Kai Havertz scored, it was PTSD. It was the whole season. It was everything. It was the last 10 games. It was, it's 1-0, and I know what we're going to do. We're going to shut up shop. And as you said, Nathan, they're brilliant at keeping the ball. It was the closest thing I'd seen to when Man United got dismantled by Barcelona that time, when they had Messi and Xavi and Iniesta, and they were just knocking it about in triangles the whole time. Yeah, it's what could have been, lads. It was. I do have a wrinkle. I've got to get it out. I've got to get it out. I've got a problem with something that happened in the game. Well, not the penalty. I don't care, because Madueke staying on his feet is an anomaly in itself. So, I'll leave that out. But just leave our good players on. Like they were taking it, and I know there's fatigue and stuff, and I know there's no other games. This is it. If they get wankered for the World Cup, I don't care. Just leave one of them on. Do you know what I mean? And like against West Ham, we did something really cool, which we started Eze, and then when the games got stretched and tied at the end, we brought on Odegaard, and then Odegaard finished the game, and he looked really good because the spaces started opening up. And we started Odegaard in this, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, if this goes penalties, which obviously we're not going to smash PSG, so this was always a possibility. I just thought, I want Odegaard and Saka on the pitch. Half a Saka is better than Madueke. Yeah, can we agree on that? So it made no sense to me. Like, it just, and it was just that, and I was just thinking, oh God. And then there was, so anyway, that was my wrinkle. Just leave the good players on the pitch, because they had taken off Kvaratskhelia, and they'd taken off Dembele, and they'd taken off these players. And I remember thinking, actually, PSG look a bit rubbish now.
Yeah, I remember thinking that as well. I thought the players that they were bringing off, I was like, now's the time. Yeah. If you're going to do it, now's the time.
But then we took ours off, and I just thought, what is this, man? What do we, so, but you know what? It's been a great season. I can't be upset at them. And Gabriel, of all people, to miss it.
Weirdly though, I think he might have been the best player to miss it, because I don't think it's going to affect him longer term. I think he'll get over it quick. Whereas someone else, it might be something that hangs over him a bit.
Yeah.
You see it with plenty of players, don't you, over the years, that them sort of moments do hang over. So I think in some ways it was the best player. If someone was going to miss, maybe it's him. But
did anyone else feel like as well? This is going to sound really arrogant, and I don't mean it to come across as arrogant, but it kind of felt like a little bit of a free hit, knowing that the parade was coming the day after, knowing that, like you surprised, 22 years we were champions of England. There's a big party coming, no matter win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
Maybe free hit's not the right way of putting it, but it kind of felt like, do you know what? It's been a good season. We're going to have a massive party tomorrow, no matter what. Whatever happens, we'll take it, kind of thing.
In some ways, I feel the opposite, because I don't know. It was just, it was like, this. Once we won the league, it's like, this could be it now. The weight's off their shoulders. Them players that had so much weight on their shoulders, didn't they, for that last few months of the season? And then once we won the league, I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe now
we might do it. Yeah.
Finally win that Champions League, and then get that, off our backs as well. And I don't know. It was just gutting.
Not to agree with my two friends there, but I felt like you sometimes, Dave, and then I felt like Nathan sometimes.
Yeah,
I was all over the place. I was a mess, but I did have I had a conspiracy theory going on in my brain. So let me kind of and I thought, how do you think conversations, apart from the fact that we'd probably still be a little bit drunk if we'd have won the Champions League, even now, I think there was a chance that this team might have broken up had we have won the Champions League. I think Arteta might have thought, well, should I take a rest for a bit? Because what else is there to do with the same group again? What, do it again?
Yeah,
it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Isn't it? What do you guys think about that? Because I can't. Okay. I'm pasting over a terrible thing that happened to us because we've lost, so we're going to go again. We've got something to go for. The team's going to stick together. Not like Paris, where every year it felt like Real Madrid were tapping up someone new in our team and they were leaving, and we were in that kind of death spiral, weren't we?
Definitely a different stage, wasn't it, for that squad?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think had we have won it, I don't actually not forget what I'm saying. I wished we'd have won it. That's just rubbish. I wish.
I think the thing with Arteta, I'm not sure he's going to find a situation better for him than this club.
No chance.
Look, I'm not.
We've been good to him.
I'm still a bit of a skeptic of Arteta. If I'm honest, we won the league, and I'm still not completely sold that he is. He's obviously a good coach, but I think like you're talking about in the Champions League final. I think substitutions. I think so often they don't make loads of sense. A lot of like for like when maybe needs a bit more of a change or things like that. I don't know. We can get into Arteta maybe in another episode. We could probably do a whole episode on him, but I just think there's no other club that would give him the leeway that we gave him over them first few years when
they've been really good.
Very well. Yeah, they easily could have sacked him 5 years ago. Like very easy. And I don't think anyone would have really thought anything too much of it at that point. So I don't know if other clubs will give him that same sort of leeway. And he's obviously in control, isn't he, in a lot of things at Arsenal where, other clubs maybe wouldn't have that same sort of control.
But we've backed him. Yeah,
exactly.
Every single time we've backed him.
I think we've got to give credit as well to the owners and the directors and people like that for sticking with him, because we've looked. You can look through the whole Premier League. Chelsea, absolute mess. Manchester United, absolute mess. Tottenham, absolute mess, because they just keep hiring and firing. It's like, well, you've got 4 managers worth of a squad there, and you're going to bring in a 5th manager who's got to, who's going to want to bring his own ideas and his own players in. And you've got all this deadwood that's just sat there, and you're going to fire this guy, you're going to have the same again. It's like, at what point do you sort of take a bit of a hit? Because we took a little bit of a hit where we were finishing 8th those first 2 seasons. And it was like, we're not getting European football, we still needed that money for the Emirates and things like that. It was a tough period, but we stuck with it because we went, look, we've got a blueprint. So at the top of the club, there was a bit of an internal fight, wasn't there, at the top with Gazidis and the other guy. They had a bit of scrap. And then we sorted the upstairs out, and it was like, right, let's get a director of football in. So we brought in Edu at the time. And then they sat together and went, right, what's the blueprint for Arsenal? Right, it's this, right, who fits that? Well, Arteta does, so we'll bring Arteta in. And then between them, it was like, right, okay, we've got the blueprint, we've got the manager, right, what players are now going to fit it? And we started picking those players up. Gabriel came in, I think he was one of the first ones to start this whole, team going through. And then obviously Edu went, but we replaced him with, someone who had the same philosophy and the same ideas. And I just think the way that the club has been run, for me, should be a blueprint for every other club. Stop hiring and firing, and actually sit down around a table, discuss what you want your club to be and how you want them to play. Then draw up your list of managers and go, right, who fits that? Try and go and get one of them. And then when he comes in, he already knows that he can go and get the players that he wants because they've already identified him for their style. So it can go, right, let's go and get players, and build it. Don't just hire and fire.
It's a hard balance, though, isn't it? Because if we had, given away the league this year, then you're looking at 8 years.
Don't
8
get me
years
wrong.
in, you've not won something. The FA Cup that first year obviously is something, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a.
There's a limit. There's a limit on it.
Yeah, it's a hard balance, isn't it? We were definitely heading towards that point. I think if we had given away the league this year, in the style we would have given it away as well. That'd be the hard decision then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been an interesting conversation if we come away empty-handed. But I think up until this point, we've done it right. I think you're right. This was the last season where it was like, right, you've now got to deliver the results. Everything's in place and you've been backed. But I just don't think other clubs are doing anywhere near enough in those initial stages. And I think that's why we've been so successful. I know we've only won one Premier League trophy, but from where we were to where we are, no one's willing to put that graft in, are they?
I think what he's brought in is a floor. You know, I think we've got a floor that's right up here somewhere. You know, where
that's a good point.
this year, when I think I'm not sure any other club has been particularly good all year. You know, I'm not sure we were that great. I'm not sure.
No.
I don't think we were necessarily even as good as maybe we've been in the last 2-3 years before this.
Completely agree.
We've got a floor where the other teams maybe don't have that floor. And I think that is probably like the thing that he's brought in has done more for us than anything else. Just, you know, we're always going to have a certain level of, I say performance, because, you know, some of the performance haven't been great, but, you know, we're gonna have a certain level of results that are going to see us.
Yeah,
you know, I can't see us being like fall into fifth, like or fourth or fifth, whatever Liverpool finish this year.
No.
I can't see that happening to us in the next 2-3 years. We're not going to have that bit of a yo-yo. We're always going to be, even a bad year next year, we're probably finishing third, aren't we? I think, which you know, if every other team around us has that in them.
Yeah, if you finish above us, you'll probably win the league. And you know you're doing well if that's kind of like, as you said, if that's your floor, then you've done really well. With Arteta, like you, I go through moments and I'm like, oh God, like the Champions League final, come on, mate. Or do you know what I mean? Like, even when he signed Madueke, I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that was just, what are you doing, mate? But ultimately, it's how the players talk about him that always lets me give him another chance. Like, you know, because, you know, we're emotional, right? We're you know, I want us to play better football. I want it. I've seen it. I want it. You know, I want us to smash teams to absolute bits. With a defense like that, with a goalkeeper like that, with a midfield with Declan Rice in it, and whatever. Come on, just do it. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I always think. I think that defense should allow you to open up the other end a bit, because you've got such a good defense. You can be a bit more open because you know you got them there.
It's only PSG. It's only PSG.
Yeah.
Everybody else should be getting it from us, you know. But it's how the players talk about him that makes me think I'll give him another go. I don't mind him because they absolutely adore him. They buy into every single thing that he says, however ridiculous we think it is. They buy into everything. You know, the light bulbs, to this, to that. They buy into all of it.
We'll see plenty of that if this documentary that's coming out this whenever it comes out, we'll see plenty more of that again, won't we? The light bulbs.
So apparently he was saying himself that he doubted himself this year. You know, because it was going wrong at one point, wasn't it? So be interesting to see if as you said, if we didn't win it, he may have just said, you know what, try something else. You know, because his stock was high enough. But he stuck with it, and I mean, imagine how the players are going to feel now about all his madness and about all these crazy things that he does now, because they delivered. And you know, if there's anything that comes out of this season, then you know, we won. We're champions, lads.
Yeah,
that can never be taken away.
No,
never. All next season, that's all we should be singing the whole time until someone comes and takes it. And God forbid we win it again.
You can't say that about other teams' titles, can you? That they'll never be taken away. You know, don't want to get started.
Exactly right. Yeah. I don't. 22 years, man. I'd be just, if I was Arteta, I'd be just sitting with it the whole time. Get Albert to move over one and just have the trophy sitting there and say, "Come and take it, you absolute beasts." But yeah, it's I'm so happy about being a champion. What about you guys? How's it feel?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's been a weird year for me. So we'll talk about it more in another time. But yeah, I've definitely had a weird relationship with Arsenal over the last 10 years or so, I guess. You know, I think like a lot of us have probably. It's been there's been some weird times. You know, I think the Emery era really did a lot of damage to my Arsenal fandom, and you know, some of the other stuff off the field that's come since then has, you know, not helped things. But you know, again, they're topics for another time maybe. But
let's do that one time, because it'd be good to have a look at that and say, because apparently he's the best manager in the league, you see. So we'll get into that.
It's this year was just, I don't know, down this stretch really sort of it probably is a bit of glory hunter in me, I guess. I don't know, but you know, that stretch really did make me feel something again. You know, I haven't really felt a lot about Arsenal. You know, over the last few years we lose and I think, whatever, I don't care. You know, we win and I'm not too bothered either way either. But yeah, you know, down this stretch it was really like, I don't know, I felt I was back in, and you know, it's nice to feel that again, really, because it's not nice that supporting a team and not really being that bothered, is it? I don't think it's you know. You know,
Nothing
it's probably the worst thing to feel. I think, as a
There's nothing
fan,
worse.
sort of nothing. Yeah, it's just it's been this run in has sort of got me back in, which is nice.
Just breathe it in, lads. Just breathe it in.
I mean, no,
Champions, let it come out.
You're at the parade the next day. Was there any sort of like hangover from that Champions League loss, or was everyone
no, absolutely none whatsoever. It was just like, so I live in Preston, which is like right up in the northwest. But I'm in Lancashire, so it's a good old train journey for me. And every single train station, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not building this up. It was red and white. Every single train station from Preston all the way down to London and back again. Honestly, it blew me away just the amount of human beings in one place. Never mind it being Arsenal, never mind it being a title parade or anything like that. Just sheer numbers.
Yeah. Just
took my breath away completely. You couldn't get on the tube. Me and my sister had to walk everywhere, which was fine. It was great. We had a really nice walk down the canal actually to get to where we were going, and it was Arsenal. It was Arsenal everywhere, and it just felt like belonging. It felt like belonging. I've never experienced it where I'm in somewhere that's completely foreign to me. Like, I've been to London a few times. Don't get me wrong, but like in those certain areas where we were walking, never been there before in my life, and it felt like home. It felt like I'd been there all my life.
It's amazing. It
felt like the place where I should be. And yeah, there was absolutely no hangover whatsoever. Like I said, and I even, before the Champions League final, I felt like it was a bit of a free hit. I said that before. I just thought, no matter what happens, we're going to have a big party tomorrow. And it felt like everyone was exactly the same. It was fantastic.
I don't know about you, Fize, but I thought watching it, when it first started, the players looked a little flat to me. Like it did look a bit like, last night we've lost one of the biggest games of our life. But I think 10, 15 minutes in, once they started getting out in them crowds, it looked like, they were over it then. It was all good. They were.
I think they needed that.
A bit more pissed, I don't know, but it was. It just looked like they were having more fun, didn't they? That first bit just looked a bit like, maybe they're struggling a bit. But yeah, they got over that quick, I think.
I think they needed it. I think the players needed that. I think it was exactly what they needed at exactly the right time. It was like, I think I saw some ridiculous stat that Gabriel's shirt sales went up by something like 350% after he missed the penalty, and it's things like that. I think Luis Enrique commented it as well. Was it Luis Enrique? No, it wasn't. It was Pep Guardiola commented it, and he said, "I want to just mention, the reaction to Gabriel missing that penalty." He said that's blown me away. I've not seen anybody criticising. There probably is. There's probably a lot of criticism out there. Because
he was man of the match until that point.
Exactly. Yeah. But
definitely would have been man of the match, wouldn't he?
The overall response from the fans was like, we almost love him even more for going through that, and it's just such a good response.
Yeah, I think if anything, you saw more criticism for the players that didn't. A couple of the players that didn't sort of step up, didn't you? Than Gabriel himself, because But I was thinking, that's hard as well. Like it's a tough situation. If they're not feeling it, I'd rather someone said I'm not feeling it than stepped up and then.
I think the other thing as well is with the fact that Havertz went off, Odegaard went off, Saka went off. They were going to be 3 of the 5, weren't they? So automatically,
I think that's what you were saying before, though, Fize, isn't it? That's the issue with some of them subs that you've left yourself.
Yeah,
I think when you looked at that lineup for the shootout, you may have had confidence in 2 or 3.
Yeah,
and then one of the ones I had confidence in it, one of the worst penalties I've ever seen. So it was after that it looked a bit iffy.
Eze took had 3 run-ups for the same penalty. Like, it was make your mind up, mate. There's a hop, skip, and a jump. Then there's a shimmy, and then there's a little. And because their keeper was so shit, he didn't move. He was going to let that in wherever it went. But Eze just done it all himself. But look, as you were saying, Dave, it's they would have. I read something about Sol Campbell before the game. Sol Campbell was talking about when they lost in Paris, and he said that a lot of the players, or him specifically, just felt like that was it for them. If they won it on the night, he was a European champion, and then if he didn't win it on the night, he'd never have a go at it again. And a lot of the team felt like that, and I just don't think this team feels like that. I think this team feels like they could go again, and I think that plus the crowd, plus how we'd been for weeks before with all the flares going off as the buses come in, and it's just a continuation of that, isn't it? I mean, it's the whole thing, right?
This feels like the beginning, whereas that Paris final felt like the end. I think we all knew that.
Exactly,
I think we all knew we were getting into sort of like the last dance a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
Whereas this time, this feels like we've got a good chance. Maybe the next 2 seasons are probably going to be our best ones to really have a go.
Yeah.
We're in the moment, whereas other teams are building to get back up to the top. I think. And I think we're already there, so it's going to be massive. So
what that leaves us with, Dave and Nathan, is what are we going to do in the transfer market, which we'll do another time, but we need to. That's going to be really key for what happens next year, I think.
Yeah, it definitely will be, won't it? So we'll do that maybe next episode because we've gone on a while there. But yeah, some of the rumours don't fill me with
some
joy,
season,
but,
mate.
you know,
Some season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a lot of good stuff to talk about. It's nice to talk about some of this stuff, isn't it? It's nice to have a nice end to season. Maybe we should have done the Champions League first to finish with a good bit of the title. But so that Champions League, I say, it doesn't necessarily feel like I don't know. The feeling since it hasn't felt like disaster, as it were.
No, it's not. It's really not.
It easily could have, couldn't it? You know, but I think everyone has sort of like seen it as a, you know, we'll be back, and hopefully that is the case. But
booking tickets for Madrid already.
Yeah, seems the way.
Let's get on it.
But
yeah.
It'd be a good city for to win a title in Madrid. It's a fun city there.
It'd be good to do a live podcast from Madrid, wouldn't it, boys?
Yeah, absolutely. The Clock End Taproom.
We'll be massive by then, and you know we'll get to like the Cronkies and
absolutely.
You know, maybe like some of them other podcasts. You know, maybe some of them get some special favors, but you know, I'll happily take bribes. You know, I'll put out there now. I'll happily take bribes to talk as positive as you want me to talk about. If
happy to wear the T-wear.
Not throwing any accusations around there. But,
yeah,
I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
Well,
I guess that wraps us up for our first episode. If you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe wherever you're listening. You know, leave us a review, a rating, all that stuff. As long as it's 5 stars, leave us a review. Anything else, don't bother. You know, it really does help. You know, other people find, especially when we're new. You know, it's it really helps you get pushed up the rankings and all that sort of thing, and pushed out to people. So yeah, if you're listening, please give us a follow, subscribe. Well, thank you both for joining me. It's been a lot of fun.
Cheers, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
we've just behind the scenes, we have hyped this up. The 3 of us, we have been looking forward to this, and just even if it's just the 3 of us that end up listening to this, it's been absolutely fantastic. I've loved it. So yeah, thank you.
Mate, if nobody else ever joins this is just therapy for us 3, mate.
Absolutely.
I'll do an NFL podcast as well, and I'll say it's just nice to just sit around and chat about NFL for a while. It's just nice to chat about Arsenal, isn't it? I'm sure there'll be times when it's less fun to chat about, and you know, we just won a title, and we just had a boring 1-1 at like Middlesbrough or someone, you know. Not Middlesbrough, they didn't even come up today. Whoever come up, I don't know. Hull, that's it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we struggled against Hull.
We're champions, mate. We don't. Exactly. There's just small folk. Bye.
That lower league stuff doesn't really, you know, come into it to me. You know, that much. But on that note,
boys.
Cheers. It was great to do this, and we will see you next time.
Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you for listening.